Hi, Paratime Weather Meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday morning, July 7th. Tropical storm Elsa will make landfall later this morning in the northern Gulf region of Florida. It will then cross the northern part of the state and head to the northeast, probably reaching the Georgia, South Carolina border region by early tomorrow. And then by early Friday morning, likely to be positioned right over the Delmarva Peninsula, on its way to eastern New England and ultimately to around Nova Scotia by the early part of the upcoming weekend. It is likely to cause some heavy rainfall up and down the eastern seaboard over the next couple of days, including in the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor, probably from late Thursday into early Friday. Right now it has maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour. It did reach hurricane status late yesterday, downgraded a bit in the overnight hours, just below hurricane level right now, but again, maximum sustained winds 65 miles per hour. This is the latest visible satellite imagery loop. These images available at College of DuPage weather website. Quite an impressive looking system early this morning. Again, it will make landfall in just a couple of hours across the northern Big Bend region along the northern Gulf Coast of Florida, and then head across the northern part of the state into southeastern Georgia, again likely reaching this position right here by early tomorrow. It's moving right now north of about 14 miles per hour. Well, let's take a look at the latest official forecast track as predicted by NOAA's National Hurricane Center. They're based in Miami, Florida, and I don't have much disagreement with this. I think in general it looks pretty much the way I foresee things happening. Right now, again, a tropical storm just below hurricane status makes landfall later this morning in the northern Gulf region of Florida, then starts to shift from a northerly direction more to a northeasterly direction as it heads up through the eastern states. Perhaps it'll be a little bit farther to the north and west by this time frame. I'm looking right in this region right here, centered over the Delmarva Peninsula, late Thursday night, early Friday morning, and certainly in this position it can result in some heavy rainfall in the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor. Then it continues on a northeasterly track to eastern New England by the time we get to later Friday, and finally by early Saturday, pretty close to Nova Scotia, Canada. Tropical systems tend to pick up speed as they move through the middle latitudes, moving from the tropics all the way into the middle latitudes. Again, they tend to pick up speed, and you certainly can see this beginning to accelerate by the time we get into the late week and weekend. Again, all the way over Nova Scotia by the early part of the upcoming weekend. And by the way, once it gets back out over the relatively warm waters of the western Atlantic, it could intensify some, again, after it gets off the eastern seaboard. But watch out for some heavy rain up and down the east coast over the next few days. Well, indeed, we'll take a look at the possible rainfall amounts up and down the east coast in a moment here. But first I want to kind of backtrack a little bit and just kind of go back to the history of Elsa. Formed in the far eastern part of the Atlantic Ocean, really looked quite impressive all the way along its track. Over the past weekend, the 4th of July weekend, it entered into the Caribbean Sea, and sea surface temperatures in this area are normal to above normal. That aided in some of the intensification of the system. Then it crossed over Cuba, which has some high terrain, tends to weaken tropical systems, but it survived that trek over the island of Cuba and then moved right near the Florida Keys and up along the southwestern coast of Florida yesterday, and again right now headed to this particular region right here, making landfall later this morning, and then it'll continue to turn to the north and east, riding up through the eastern U.S. over the next couple of days. Well, here's a prediction by NOAA's forecast center for the total precipitation amounts over the next 3 days by Saturday morning. Again, general agreement with this kind of a prediction here from NOAA, and some heavy rainfall really from the Gulf Coast of Florida all the way up along the eastern seaboard over the next couple of days. tend to see the track here as depicted by NOAA right in this region right here. Again, I think it may end up a little bit farther to the north and west over the Delmarva Peninsula by late Thursday night, early Friday morning. It can be some heavy rainfall from D.C. to Philadelphia to New York City, all the way up to Boston, all the way up through northern New England. Any purple here represents 2+ inches of rain, so watch out. There can certainly be some localized higher amounts of 3, 4, even 5 inches of rain over the next couple of days anywhere up and down the eastern seaboard, and that could result in some localized flooding. Well, I wanted to take a look at the European model run from last night. I think the Euro has a pretty good handle on the movement of Elsa over the next 48 hours or so. Again, right through the eastern states and right to a position near the Delmarva Peninsula by early Friday morning. And let's walk through these maps available from WSI Incorporated. This is the forecast map from the 0Z Euro for early this morning. Again, the system about to make landfall right in this Big Bend region of the northern Gulf Coast of Florida. Let's now just move forward here from here and watch the movement of that system right near the Georgia-South Carolina border region by early tomorrow. That's early Thursday. And it has a little bit farther inland than what NOAA depicts. And again, I kind of lean that way, especially over the Delmarva Peninsula. This is the forecast map by early Friday morning, situated right over the Delmarva Peninsula, maybe even a little bit to the west over the eastern part of Maryland. And again, enhancing the chance for some heavy rainfall. D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, late Thursday into early Friday. Here we go by Friday morning itself, not far from Long Island, according to the 0Z run of the GFS, with some heavy rainfall, certainly gusty winds as well. Again, it could be isolated spots of 3, 4, 5 inches of rain out of this system, with localized flooding certainly on the table. And by the time we get to Friday afternoon, it's up across eastern New England, and then near Maine by Friday night, Nova Scotia region by the time we get to the early part of the upcoming weekend. So a couple of days here to dealing with Elsa. First, makes landfall later this morning, the northern Gulf region of Florida. Then it crosses over the northern part of the Sunshine State later today into Georgia, turns to the north and east, rides up near the east coast over the next day or two, reaching the Delmarva Peninsula by early Friday morning, and ultimately up near Maine or Nova Scotia by the early part of the upcoming weekend. Stay tuned to ParatonWeather.com for updates later today. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.